And I will show you how to get that message because you need it for Poppy Act. I will put it on a private YouTube channel. Normally when I do training like Excel or whatever, it's very interactive and you go and do stuff. It's very hard on Zoom because I'm the only one who's the host. So it is difficult for you to do what I'm doing and you to see what I'm seeing. So I'm going to share my screen. What we're going to do is we're going to look at everything on our Zoom screen now. Then we're going to go to the behind the scenes. We're going to go to the app, and then we're going to look at extracting reports after your meetings. Okay, so on my screen, Ronelle, you are first. So will you introduce yourself briefly and just let everyone know who and what you are?
All right. I'm Ronelle and I'm a graphic designer. And I live in a small town on the West Coast, and I work remotely with clients doing book designs, corporate designs, all sorts of wonderful things that come my way, signage, etc. And Terry has kindly offered to assist me with a Zoom training today. And I was really happy to oblige and join the team.
That was very good timing. Ronelle phoned me for help this morning on Zoom. I said, I can't help you. Come this afternoon.
Wonderful.
Daniela, cool. Next on my screen.
Hello, everyone. My name is Daniela John. I am an educator, an author, and a speaker. What else can I say? I just want to know more about how to interview people and how to obviously run Zoom meetings, professionally. And hey, Mel. So I'm just saying, so I thought it was a good idea to jump on board and see how it all works, just to build on the brand that I'm trying to build. And excited.
Perfect. Welcome. Lennox, will you unmute yourself? You're next.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Lennox Mlambisa. I am a member of Kwasa Toastmasters. We do have our Sergeant at Arms. I think she'll be joining us a bit later today, Nangam Sotata, but I thought in case sometimes she's busy, let me be a backup because she and Mel sometimes are the ones that usually assist us. So I'm just here to grasp as much as I can. So, hi everyone.
Perfect. Welcome. Thank you. Mel, you're next on my screen.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Mel Au. I am a member of Toastmasters, Rotary. I often find myself administrating or being the host of meetings, and it's just good to be equipped and see where that might take you. Thank you.
Lovely. And last but not least, Sinu Sifu.
Sinu Sifu, yes. Yes. Hello, everyone. My name is Sinu Sifu, and I am the Sergeant at Arms from our own Toastmasters club, which is Khalicha Toastmasters. And I'm very excited to also just be part of this training because as a SAA person, that I also have to take a Zoom master role as well. So just being here is actually quite exciting for me. So yeah, hello everyone.
Welcome everyone. Okay, so this is recorded. You'll have access to the recording. If I say something and you don't understand, please just unmute yourself and shout, Terry, help here or something. Else I'm just going to keep going. What I'm going to start with, what I'm going to be doing most of today is sharing my screen with you. So what you're currently seeing is my screen. Okay, it can get confusing because it looks quite similar to your screen. So the very first thing I'm going to show you, and I have to show it to you in a video, is what you can do as a participant when someone's sharing a screen. Because even though I'm the host, there's very little I can do on your side of the computer. So if I'm sharing something, you can make me bigger or smaller or the PowerPoint bigger. And there's all sorts of things we're going to do. So I'm going to start by just plain that I recorded it earlier. Actually, I tried to get my daughter, she was doing her homework and I made her Zoom to me, but she refused to be on the thing. So you'll just see a big empty lounge where she was supposed to be sitting because she wasn't participating well. And I'm going to show you how to do the videos, etc., etc. So now remember, I'm going to show you a view of a participant, which is you looking at someone sharing a screen. Okay. What we are viewing now is a screen, a shared screen as a participant. So we're not the host in this particular case, we're the participant. And the host has very little control over how a participant views the screen. So as a participant at the top, you will always see whose screen is being shared with you. Here you can see it says you are viewing Indie Pop screen. This is my daughter with her school homework in a PowerPoint. Across the top, it's showing the participants, and here it is showing the PowerPoint. As a participant, what can you do to make your screen look better or make it easier for you to follow the shared screen? The first thing you can do is go to your view options over here. There's a little drop down arrow and you can select side by side mode, and I would advise you to always get your participants to do this. What it does is it shares your screen, your PowerPoint, and it shares all your participants. Normally what you want to do is you only want to see the speaker and you don't want to see what everyone else is doing. In the top right hand corner, you can click on speaker view. Okay, our speaker is currently absent because she refused to appear on my video. Now what we've got is we've got the speaker view on the side and we have the PowerPoint presentation on this side. And this is normally the setup you want as a participant when someone else is sharing their screen. What else can you do? If you move your mouse, you will see there are 3 little lines here. And as you put your mouse over it, this gray line comes up. If you click and drag this, you can change the proportion of the screen that the speaker has or that the PowerPoint has. So at any time, you can decide what proportion to devote to the speaker or to the PowerPoint slide. The host has absolutely no control over this and cannot actually see what you are doing. So remember, you've gone to your view options and you've ticked side-by-side mode. Instead of the gallery view, which shows all the participants or as many as it can, you select the speaker view. It then shows just the speaker, and then you can select your slider to change the proportion of the screen that you devote either to the PowerPoint or you devote to the speaker. What happens if this is a very complicated slide and you can't read it particularly well? Do you have any options? Once again, you can click on your view option, and on your zoom ratio, it is normally defaulted to fit to window. But if we select, for instance, 300%, if you click on that, now you've got to click and drag because it has made the PowerPoint 300 times bigger. So you might need to find what you couldn't read. I don't think you will be doing this very often, but it is an option if you can't read what's on the slide. Once again, I would go to my view options, to my zoom ratio, and ensure I've fit to windows. I'm going to do a quick run through those again. Most often, this is how you will see a shared screen. And to reiterate, the host has very little or no control over how you view the sharing screen. The first thing you would want to do is check whose screen you are viewing. You are viewing Indigo's screen. You will go to the options and you'll click side-by-side mode. This often puts you into gallery view, which you don't want, so you would click on speaker view. This is definitely the view you most often want. It shows the slide being shared and who the speaker is. You also can use your slider to change the percentage of the screen that is devoted to your speaker or to the slides. And the host has no control over this. There are some other viewing options here, request remote control or annotate. Very few hosts will allow you to do this, so I'm not going to show you at this stage. So remember, have on your side-by-side view, make sure it's in speaker view, and just use your slider to make it more comfortable. Right. So just remember that whatever you see on your screen is not what other people see on their screen. Okay, a lot of hosts get into trouble because they expect that the participants are seeing their screen. So my suggestion today is when I am sharing my screen, you can use that slider. And in fact, I think if you go to your view options now, there's probably a whole bunch more than when I recorded that. Okay.
Terry,
Yes.
sorry, I just want to switch from my iPad to from my iPhone to my iPad. It's just bigger, the screen. Can I
Very good.
can I join by?
Yeah, join
Cool.
by.
I'm joining.
Okay. My advice as well to everybody is if you are hosting, host from a PC or a laptop, because it has a whole lot more functionality than an iPad or an iPhone. So there's stuff that I can do because I'm on my computer that if you're trying to host on your iPad, you can't do. So if you are hosting a big meeting, 100% do it from your desktop or from your laptop. Okay, let me share my screen with you and let me explain to you what we are going to do today. I am looking for a drawing. Right, so this is what I'm going to teach you today. We're going to start in this top corner here. We're going to look at everything up there. Then we're going to drop down to the bottom, going to look at everything there. Then we're going to look at all these options over here. And finally, we're going to come up and look at the view option. So initially, we're just doing an orientation. Daniela, if you're on your iPad, it's not going to look the same. Okay. It's going to look different and it's going to have much less functionality. Okay. I'm just going to let myself in because I'm in the waiting room. Because I just want to see what you're seeing just to make sure. I often do that. If I'm running a big meeting, I log in either my cell phone or on my iPad so I can see what my participants are seeing. And it helps me understand. Oh, let me just mute this. Also very interesting. I'll mute it here. Okay. So let us start in the. Why am I getting feedback? Okay, so we are starting at the moment in the top left-hand corner. You will see, and maybe you want to use that 300 or 200%, you see my screen bigger. You'll see there's a little green shield with a tick on it. If you ever come into a meeting and there is no tick on it, straight away get out that meeting because that means you're not secure. Okay, so if we click on this tick, it tells us Zoom like a master, the meeting ID, who the host is, what the password is. You can copy the link from here straight away. It's enabled. If there's a big problem with this meeting, you can hit this red report button and it will report it straight away to Zoom. Okay, so top left-hand corner, the little green shield, you click on that. You can straight away copy the link to copy and paste to someone, and it gives you information about the meeting. Can you see on this pop-up screen, there is a gear lever in the top right corner of the left corner pop-up. If you click on that, it gives you all these settings, and these are called the in-meeting settings. Everything that is here, you can actually change in your meeting. Sorry, I'm just, I somehow still seem to have feedback from my iPad. Okay, so just let's go there again. We clicked on the green shield. We then clicked on the gearbox. Everything in here affects your settings just for this meeting. Some of them will save till the next one. We're just going to have a quick breeze through this. There's general. Start Zoom when I start Windows. I'm not going to go through them in detail, but it would behoove you when you've got time. Sit and read through every single one of these things and see what they do. I mean, just to stuff like, you know, if you want your thumbs up to be dark or to be yellow or to be pink, you can choose that. Do you want to start Zoom every time you start Windows? You can just click it on or off. I actually have got 2 monitors, so I often use dual monitors. Don't tick it, obviously, if you don't have. Ask me to confirm when I leave a meeting. This is sometimes important because you don't want to accidentally leave a meeting. Okay, so this is just general to do with Zoom. Right, the next one is video. This is everything to do with your current video. Can you see my camera? It says snap camera because I'm using that funny camera that lets me change stuff. Normally, I would use my Logitech HD camera, which is not happy with because my snap cam is on. I'll just turn my snap camera off. Here's my Logitech. Okay, that's just my normal camera. Okay. There is an option for higher definition. Mostly advise not to do it because it uses so much bandwidth. Okay. There's the option of mirror my video. Can you see how my flowers can change side? They're either on my right-hand side or my left-hand side. This obviously makes a difference when you have a wallpaper with your name on, that it must show correctly. There is this thing called touch-up appearance. Now, it might sound like it's about vanity, but absolutely it's about being professional. That the more professional you are, the better you look to your people. So if I drag this down, you can see it's kind of sharper. If I drag it up, and of course I just have it maximum, it kind of just like airbrushes it a little bit. Another very useful thing is adjust for low lighting. If I put it on manual, can you see, even though you've got your lighting in your room correct, you can still play around a little bit. I mean, there we go. Always display the participants' names on the video. So if you have a look here, I can see Renelle. I can see everyone's name on their video. Hide non-video participants. So if I click this, can you see now that it's only showing, it's actually showing Renelle because everyone else has turned their video off. Okay. Maximum participants, you can click 49 participants, but that also depends on the strength of your computer. My computer has a lot of processing power. Some people will only be able to show 25 participants. They won't be able to show everything. Okay, then we've got audio. Very good idea. Before you start a meeting, you can actually test your speakers to see if they're working, and you can test put my video on. You can test your speakers and your mic. So before you're doing a big meeting, just test that. If you click the will do it. You can test the mic. Is my mic working? Okay. This here is the volume of your mic. So if I turn my mic volume down, my voice is going to be very soft because you can't. So my mic volume is soft as opposed to my speaker volume. I tend to use the automatic things because Zoom knows those pretty well. If you have a lot of background noise, you can suppress it, low, medium, high. If you don't see the same stuff on yours as you see on mine, you are not on the latest version of Zoom, and I'm going to show you how to get there. Oh, you can have a whole lot of different ringtones, and if you go into advanced, there's all sorts of other stuff. My gut feel is the basic setup normally is perfect. Then there are settings around sharing a screen. When you're sharing your screen, like I'm currently sharing now, do you want to share it full screen? Do you want to actually fill up most of the window? Do you want to maintain your current size? Do you want to scale to fit? Remember, we could change it to 50%, 300%. Normally, you want to fit it in with the person. Side-by-side mode is the preferred mode, the speaker and the screen next to them. Silent system notifications. So if I'm sharing my desktop, I don't want my email to ding and my WhatsApp message to ding. So any notification coming from my system, tell it to stop it. Okay. There's often an advanced button which you can go and look at. Very seldom have I found a use for it, but it's good to know it's there. Let's look at the chat. Some of them are audio messages. You can actually block users on Zoom, and if they get back into your meeting, you can look at them. You can keep all your unread messages, blah, blah, blah. There's just a lot of stuff around that. Good to know it's there. Zoom apps is a very new thing where there are about 300 different applications which will seamlessly integrate into Zoom. I'm trying to find a free one so that I can demo it because I don't feel like spending money, but have a look. It's called Zoom Shop. I'll send you the address. There are hundreds of applications that could be very useful. Background and filters. I think Lennox was asking about this. Interestingly enough, when Zoom started, everyone wanted a background, and over time, because most people can't afford to have proper green screens and lighting, people fell away from it. The second option is blur. Can you see if I choose that, it kind of blurs out my background. I think Mel, was it yours that looked like this? So a lot of people like this blurred background because you're not used to talking to your clients from your home, and you might be sitting in your kitchen or your office, or your kids might be in the background. It obviously comes with a couple of standard ones, but can you see there's a, let me annotate my mouse. Can you see there's a little plus over here? If I want to add my own background, I do a plus and I can add it as an image or as a video. Be careful of adding big videos, they're not great. So add an image and I can go to, I guess I'm just going to try this one. And can you see it's just brought in an image? You can create it in Canva. It must be a PNG or a JPEG. And once it's in there, you can pull it up at any time to show your screen. If your computer won't do this, it means your camera is not good enough or your processing power of your computer is not good enough. Okay, I just wanted to show you the mirroring. Okay, now this is the one I tend to use the most because it's kind of blurred. But if I go to video and I don't have my mirror on, can you see that the writing is all skew on my background? Not skew, back to front. So that's where you would change your mirroring. Okay, background and filters. So you can add as many as you like. I usually sometimes in Toastmasters for 3 minutes, 6 minutes, your speech is overrun. I was doing a webinar for people the other day, and I was giving some information about the speakers, but this is where you do it. Backgrounds and filters on virtual backgrounds, and you go and add the ones you've created. Make sure you've sized them correctly so that they don't go all out of sync. There is also something called video filters, which is a little bit like I was doing earlier. You can put on a bear's nose or a mask or a little funny, cute thing. You could also make it appear that you're on the movies or on TV or blah, blah, blah. I quite like these colored ones here. If I'm having a bad day, I'll appear in black and white, or if I need some sunshine. So these are just filters which are overlays onto your camera. Just remember, anything you do takes processing power. So if you got a movie open and Excel spreadsheets and all sorts of stuff, and you playing, you could cause your stuff to grind to a halt. I'm just going to get rid of this background. There is another thing that you can do. And you see there's an option here to say, I have a green screen. And a green screen is that proper bright green, Chlorodex green, which helps it distinguish the background from you. Very few people have one. But in the corner, there's something called Studio Effects. If you click on that, you can do your own Zoom makeup. So I could get eyebrows. I'm going to just put them in green so you can actually see what it's done. You can make your eyebrows less or more. If I was a male, I could give myself a mustache in green. And of course, I can give myself lipstick. These you must remember to turn off, because else next time, like that lawyer who came in with a cat on his head and he didn't know how to get it off. Be careful of these. It's also funny, can you see if I put my hand in front of my mouth when I'm talking? It goes all like, So I tend to not use them unless I'm trying to be funny or I'm teaching kids. Okay, but they are there. So under background and filters, you've got background, you've got filters, and then you've got the studio effects down here on the bottom left. Okay. Now recording. This is to do when you are a host and you are recording the meeting. So I 100% of the time use local recordings because I like to edit the file afterwards and upload it to YouTube, or I'd like to share it in Dropbox or something. But you can tell it exactly on your computer where you want the file to live. So if I'm doing a Zoom for Toastmasters, I have a file for them. If I'm doing it for Andre, for him, for wherever. So you tell it where you want the file to live. Or you have an option that you can click this, and once you finish the meeting, it then asks you where should the file live. If you want to record a separate audio file of every participant, personally, I've never found a need to have the audio file. I optimize it for third-party video editing because I edit a lot. This could be quite useful. Add a timestamp to the recording. So it'll show in the bottom left-hand, right-hand corner, the date and time. That could be a very useful thing to have, because we sometimes do like minutes of a meeting, like an AGM or something, and the timestamp is good. Record the video during share screen. Hang on, someone's just coming in. Record the video when you recording, you actually do want to see that. Okay, your profile. If you click on edit my profile, it takes you out of the meeting and it takes you to the website. So we're going to do that just now. Then there's a whole lot of statistics, which if you're a nerd like me, are very exciting. You can see how much CPU Zoom is using. So 39% of my computer's been used. I can see how much audio, I can see how much video, I can see how much screen sharing. This I assume is used by very technical Zoom people when people are running into trouble. Feedback, and I do this often, I'm forever telling Zoom what they should add or change. You can just write a suggestion to them and send it to them. There are keyboard shortcuts. I've used a couple of them that are very useful, like change to the Zoom meeting control is Control-Alt-Shift. You have to tick it on for it to work. But so it depends, like if you switch often to gallery view, you can tick it on Alt F2. If you want to stop or start your video, Alt V for video. So there are hundreds of shortcuts that sometimes, I mean, literally there are screens of them, but they won't work. So if people sometimes phone me and say, I switch to speaker view and I go Alt F1, nothing happens. You have to come and tick it to say, listen to this shortcut. Okay. The last one is accessibility, and this is generally for people with problems hearing or seeing, etc. So we're going to look at closed captions, but you can make them really large, so that they can see them. There's all sorts of your chat. I'm just going to open a chat here on the side. Oh, here's my chat. Can you see I can make my chat 200%? So I am big. If I make it back to normal, which is like 100%, I am small. And you see it just changes the size of the font in your chat, which can be very useful. There are a whole lot of other things. And I think this is mainly for blind people that pings on their machine when something happens. Okay, so these are called in-meeting controls, and you find them, just to remind you, top left-hand corner, you click on the green shield, and then you click on the gearbox. Okay. There are a whole lot of settings you set up on the web, which will affect this. So sometimes people have fiddled on the web and they can't get it to work in meeting because they've actually blocked it on the other side. But my suggestion is if you're ever changing a setting here, let's go to recording and you change the meeting here, just write down what you've changed. So if things go awry, don't go and change 400 settings because you can sometimes absolutely mess it up. Okay. Does anybody have any questions? And do you quickly want to, I'm going to stop sharing for a second. Do you quickly want to have a play on your machine and go and look at your settings in your top left corner? These are crucial to understand and to improve the appearance and running of your meeting.
I have a question.
Okay. Mel?
Yes. Is there a quicker way?
Oh, I can't hear you. Oh, yes.
Okay. Is there a quicker way to disable the chat?
Yes, we're getting to that.
Okay. Okay.
Now, a lot of people, once again, are starting to disable chat because they can become very distracting. And you see, I think that's a problem with Zoom, is that I'm sitting here, okay, if I'm a participant and I'm on my phone and I'm on Facebook, and then I see Mel comes along, I chat to her. So it's very hard to see if your people are with you. That's why you have to run a slick Zoom so you don't lose your audience. Right, is everyone happy with in-meeting settings, where to find them, how to change them? Right, I'm going to share my screen.
Just a quick one, Terry.
Yes, of course.
I am in my video under general.
Yes.
Probably have the old system here, the old what you call it.
Okay.
Because my one has got a video, it's got a mirror my video, touch up my appearance, adjust low light.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, it's so.
If I hit advanced, still I don't get anything better than.
So what we're going to do just before our break is I'm going to actually show you how to upgrade to the latest version of Zoom on your computer, because
Okay.
it will give you a whole lot of new things that you may not have seen. Okay,
Alright.
perfect. Back we go. So now we are going to look at this bottom corner here where we've got mute and stop video in the bottom left-hand corner. Okay. So can you see where there is a mute? It's got a little green mic and there's a tiny little up arrow next to it. There's one next to mute, one next to video, one next to participants, one next to share screen. Every time in Zoom, you see a little up arrow, that means there is more behind the scenes. So let's have a look at this button here. If we click on the up arrow, can you see it pops up those in-meeting settings, but it's everything to do with your speaker or your mic. So you can have a whole lot of different mics. You can have a whole lot of different speakers. You can test it here, or you can block the computer audio at this stage. So quite useful to use this little up arrow. You can get to exactly the same place if you go to your green shield and you click on your gearbox and you go down to audio. Or else you can access it from down here where you click on the up arrow and you go to audio settings. Now there's a very important setting that I want you all to try. And once again, this will only be if you're on one of the later versions of Zoom. If you have a look here, it says, mute my microphone, press and hold spacebar to temporarily unmute myself. So what this means, I'm going to just mute myself, holding down my spacebar, and you can hear me, I'm unmuted. When I leave my spacebar, it mutes me again. So instead of having to go and mute and unmute all the time, if you just want to comment, make sure this is ticked on. Press and hold the spacebar to temporarily unmute yourself. So you've got to hold the spacebar down the whole time while you are doing it. So I can see that Daniela, oh no, I don't know how it's going to work for you. Mel, are you on a desktop?
That's correct.
So did you set that button and just see if you know how to just chat to me by holding?
It's working.
Yeah.
It's working. It's working. Yeah.
Nice.
All good.
It's actually so much easier because you often say to people, go and unmute yourself. And then they're looking and then they're trying to unmute and I'm muting. So you just hold your spacebar down and talk and say your say and let it go and it goes back to mute. Okay. A much cleaner way of doing things. But once again, it doesn't work unless it's flagged on. Okay. So then we have stop video, which obviously, hello, stops your video, puts your video on if you're lucky. But next to it, there is a little up arrow. So let's have a look what comes up here. So this is the same as you can get to in your in-meeting settings. You choose your camera, you choose your virtual background, you choose your video filter, and here are your video settings. Takes you back to exactly the same spot, but it is focused on camera, there your background and your filters. So it's just another quicker way of getting to the same place. So the mute or the stop video have got the little up arrows next to them. What we're going to look at now is security. I don't draw very well. This is something absolutely essential to you as a host to understand. There have been so many cases of Zoom bombing and people taking over the meeting and people not knowing how to get it back. It is up to you as the host to run a clean meeting. So let's have a look at all our options. Let me just clear my drawings. Okay. If you click on the security button, you get a pop-up menu. And once again, as a participant, you might want to make your screen a bit bigger so you can just see this using your view options. The first option is to lock your meeting. So if I was perhaps having, I don't know, maybe if it was a legal case, lock your meeting means nobody can come in. They can't come into the waiting room. The meeting is absolutely locked down tight, okay? The only time I've ever used it is when I was running an AGM for a company that was voting on quite controversial stuff, and they didn't want people popping in and out of the meeting at a certain stage. There's your waiting room, and can you see over here that Terry Winship is waiting in the waiting room? If I turn it off, I can just click it off. That means I've got no waiting room, and anyone comes in, just comes automatically into the meeting. What I often do is in the beginning, I let people into the meeting from the waiting room, but then when the meeting starts and we're so busy talking and sharing screens, I often take the waiting room off and latecomers can just come straight in. But remember, that is one level of security for you. Hide the profile pictures. I mean, the only reason there is this option is that sometimes, and there are people who've put rude pictures on as their profile picture. Instead of showing their face, they've shown their beautiful body parts and they think they're very cool. They turn the camera off and here you have. So if ever anybody has got a rude profile picture, just come and turn it off here. Okay. So the next section here is to do with your participants. You can allow, Ronelle, you have a question. Now you're muted.
Yes. Sorry to interrupt, Terry.
No,
I don't actually see that security icon.
It's because I'm the host. You won't see it until you're the host.
Until I'm the host. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
So that's what I'm saying. It's hard for you to do this stuff because I'm the host. So
yes, of course.
you will
yeah,
need
but
to,
you showing us your screen.
yes.
Yeah.
So
okay.
Once this meeting is finished, you need to go and practice some of these things. Okay.
Okay, goody. Thank you.
Cool. So this is what you can allow your participants to do. If it's ticked on, they can do it. So they can chat, rename themselves, unmute themselves. They can stop or start the video. They can't share their screen and they can't annotate on shared content. In those meetings where they're being Zoom bombed, it's normally because the participants are allowed to share their screen and then they share a video of whatever they feel is exciting. So 90% of the time, I don't allow shared screens in my meeting because I'm running it for corporates or stuff. If you're running it for Toastmasters and people need to share their speeches, you can perhaps tick it off, but it's very quick. Mel, you asked about how to turn the chat on and off. If I click it here, they cannot chat because it is not ticked. So they have no option to chat at all. Very quick. Sometimes what we do, if we've got a speaker, we block the chat while he's speaking, and then we reopen the chat. So then people, because it's sometimes disconcerting for the speaker. He's talking and chats are popping up, especially if you're on your phone, because it flashes across your screen. So this is only controlled by the host. You can't do this as a participant. This is the host or the co-host. Okay. Rename themselves. Well, often I'm going to show you when we come to participants, sometimes it's important that they rename themselves, or they've come in and they've called themselves iPad, and actually they must be called Terry Winship or whatever. Can they unmute themselves? If you turn that off, that means they can't unmute themselves, okay? Which means I'm controlling that I know who's speaking and no one else can come and blah, blah in the background. So tick means it's on, blank means it's off, okay? I'm going to allow you to share a screen. I'm going to admit myself on my iPad. And I'm going to share a screen from, I just want to get in on my iPad. And I want to show you why you've got to be careful of people sharing screens. Okay, so I'm going to share a screen from my iPad. Okay, I'm going to have to stop sharing this one to share that one. Share content. Only the host can share. Okay. I'll just show you a recipe. So can you see what happens if your user shares their screen? It just automatically takes over my screen as the host. So that's why, especially when they're having things in Parliament with members of the public, they don't allow them to share screens, because that's often when people share their porno and stuff like that. But there is another option, which is also quite interesting. Let me share my screen again. We go back to security. And can you see there's an annotate on shared content? Now I can tell you this happened in British Parliament, that some user, I think it was a parliamentary, shared his screen and somebody else annotated, which meant they wrote on his screen. So I always have this turned off, but we're going to turn it on for this particular exercise. So now my poor user is going to share their screen again. And I'm going to share a recipe. In truth, it's supposed to allow me to draw on the screen, but I can't see the option here. I mean, I can do it here. Okay. So the annotate is when you get, you can see this button of mine, which is the share screen button. And there's a thing that says annotate. So there's like stamps. So I can come and stamp all over Renelle's screen if I like her. I can write text. So I can write Terry. And this is what happened in Parliament. Some of the users were writing swear words all over the screen. So I tend to never allow the animation. There's not too many times when you've got a screen up and someone else should be writing on it. Okay. So let's just go back to our security. So I normally have my waiting room enabled, no share screen. We're going to leave the chat on, but I don't allow people to annotate on shared content. I have that off. Okay. So they can chat, rename themselves, unmute. I often have the unmute off, especially when we've got a speaker. I don't allow people to unmute while the speaker's talking. The other thing is right near the bottom, you've got two things called report participant and suspend participant. So now I've got a meeting and someone comes and their profile picture is inappropriate. or they're sharing or they're writing nasty words in the chat, you can click on report participant. And can you see here on the side, we've got all our participants. It's given me an option to remove Daniela, Lennox, Mel, blah, 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 or Terry. That removes them straight out your meeting and it reports them to Zoom. Zoom will look at their login, and because you can do screen dumps and all, I just don't want to report myself. They will block that user. Okay, so it is, and I've had to do it twice, believe it or not. I was running a series for the Players Fund where we had members of the public watching rugby, and someone wrote inappropriate stuff in the chat, political, racist, horrible stuff. I removed him and reported him like douche straight away. So it's important to know how you take back control of your meeting. Because people say to me, oh, they took over and we couldn't get our meeting back. Yes, you can. You have to go to your security, remove your participant, and you can suspend your participants' activities. Suspend everybody, what everybody's doing, just block it. While you're trying to get control, you can report it to Zoom and you can basically suspend your whole meeting. So as the host, you are the only one who can control the safety of the meeting. I get in despair when I read stuff where they say someone took over our meeting and blah, 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 blah. No, you are in control of every single participant. They can't do anything that you allow. So you won't see the security button now because I am the host. But when you are hosting, and it's the first thing I do when I start any meeting, I click on my security, I check I have a waiting room, because the waiting room allows me to choose which people to come in. If I'm doing a free meeting and someone calls themselves Mickey Mouse or admin 1234, I don't let them in. Absolutely not. I've learned, and if they can't be asked to name themselves properly, I can't be asked to let them in my meeting. And I'm being serious. It's like, obviously, if you're doing something for Toastmasters, or you're doing it for, like Renal, you're doing for the Cancer Society, and maybe people are invited, that's a different story. But the minute you open it up to the public, every idiot in the world is going to come and test your security. Okay, so I don't let people in, honestly, if their names are stupid. And then people phone me afterwards and go, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, name yourself properly. Be an adult. Okay, so that is all to do with security, and it will behoove you to control your meeting. Okay, you want to stop them chatting? Just come and untick the chat just like that. You don't want them to unmute themselves? Just hit the button and unmute them. Okay, right, so we've done security. The next one we're going to look at is our participants. Can you see the 8 of us? And there's a little up arrow. Every time there's an up arrow, that means there is an additional something. So we click the up arrow and it gives us an invite. Because sometimes you want to invite somebody when the meeting has started. If you click at that, you can actually set up your contacts on Zoom. So if I want to speak to Andre, who I speak to often, I just Zoom ring him. And his Zoom on his side wakes up and says, Terry wants to Zoom you. Much easier than setting up a meeting, copying the number. But I could email directly from here. I can go to my default email. Oh, I've got lovely little hearts. I can say, dear whoever, and there's my Zoom information. So you don't have to, this is like when you're in the meeting, you can invite someone at that point. Okay. I just want to get rid of all my beautiful hearts. There they go. So if we go back to the invite, you can copy the invite link, or you can copy the invitation. If I copy the whole invitation, it's now sitting on my clipboard. I can go to WhatsApp because I've got mine on my computer, or I can even just go to the chat. Oh, here's my chat. And if I paste Control V, that's exactly, it's got the Zoom meeting, the ID, the et cetera, et cetera. So this little thing here next to your participants is what allows you to invite participants. Click on the up arrow, click on the invite. You can invite your contacts. You can email directly to somebody. You can copy just the link, or you can copy the whole invitation. Pretty useful. Okay. If you actually, I'm just going to kill my participants. Now this, remember, this is when you are a host. If I click on my participants, it opens them up on the side of my screen. Now there's a lot of stuff you can do here, and I never run a meeting without my participants down the side. If somebody, Renelle, won't you just put your hand up, your ask for help? Can you see Renelle has got her hand up? So, and on her screen here, I can immediately see she's asking for help. I can go and I can lower her hand, I can ignore her, or I can address it. But if you had 50 participants and you've got 49 on your screen, it's hard to see who's put their hand up. But what it'll do, if I put my hand up from my laptop, let me do that quickly. Raise hand. I don't know if you noticed, it took Terry, who was at the bottom of this participants list, and pushed her right to the top. Okay, so it's useful to keep the participants list open, because if someone's asking for help, you can find them quickly. What else can I do when I'm up here? I can go to Lennox, I can unmute him, or there's a more button. I can then ask him to start his video. I can pin him. I can make him the host. Be very, very careful. Whoever I make the host takes over the meeting. And that means I just become a random participant. Don't, rather make someone a co-host, which means you've got the privileges and they're sharing them. And you can add, I've never added more than 4 or 5, but I'm assuming you can make everyone a co-host. I don't know what the limit is, but the difference between host is they take over your account and they are the boss. The co-host, you still have a turn to chuck them out your meeting, or to block them, or to take away the co-host privileges. So if I make, who am I on? Lennox. It comes up, do you want to make Lennox the co-host of this meeting? Yes or no? If I say yes, can you see he jumped up the list again? Because he was further down. I can also go and I can remove his co-host permissions. Okay, so as the host, nothing you do is fatal. You can give it and you can take it away. Can you see I took it away from him? So he's come further down the list again. Now, a lot of people get confused about the order here, because it doesn't always appear to be. I'm just going to unmute this one. Can you see when I unmuted it, that it came to the top? Mute it and it goes to the bottom. So this is how Zoom sorts this list. At the top is always the host and the co-host. So if I make Mel co-host, can you see it's now Terry host, Mel co-host. So always right at the top are the hosts and the co-hosts. And then let me ask, Renelle, will you unmute yourself, please, just for this exercise?
Okay, done.
Then can you see Renelle shot up here? So then it shows next all the unmuted people. Okay, and after that, it shows all the muted people. So it is in alphabetical order, but it's in a special alphabetical order. And just remember that right at the top are host and co-hosts. Then it shows everyone unmuted, and then it shows everyone else in alphabetical order. Okay, so I've had so many people phone me and go, oh, they hate Zoom, they can never find anyone, it's a mess. But the minute you understand what it's doing, host, co-host, unmuted, the rest. If I have 500 people on my Zoom, I can search for them. If I type in, I just had to do SI and it finds her. If I'm looking for Mel, I just start typing it. It will bring up everything that starts with ME, like a whole list. So if I've got 10 people who are going to talk and I know who's coming up next, I can go and find them so that I can unmute them and spotlight them straight away. Very useful if we look over here. So I can ask them to start their video, pin them, make them host, co-host. I can rename them. I can allow them to multi-pin. Nice. I can put them back into the waiting room. And let me tell you, I have done this before. So I click that. My iPad shows that I'm sitting, waiting in the waiting room. So if you don't want to report them to Zoom, just zap them into the waiting room. Then I can go and let them into the waiting room from the waiting room again. I can admit them person by person, but can you see there's an option to remove them from the waiting room? So if I'm in a, and like I say, I run big Zooms for corporates and like events. I have no tolerance for people who are misbehaving. So if they misbehave, I put them in, it's like the teacher putting them in the naughty corner. I can then decide, I've WhatsApped them and I said, blah, 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 I'll let you in if you behave, or I can just remove them, or I can leave them in the waiting room forever. Okay, so when you're the host, everyone in the waiting room comes up here. You can admit them, you can remove them. If there are 15 people in your waiting room, there's a button here that says admit all. So you can just, you don't have to go one by one by one by one. Okay. One of the next versions of Zoom, it's in the beta mode, is you're going to be able to play a video in the waiting room, which I think is quite lovely, because sometimes people log in half an hour early and you can just show them your corporate video or whatever you like instead of this cold, lonely waiting room. You can also send a message to someone in the waiting room, but they can't answer you back. So you can broadcast a general message. And I'm going to show you that when we do the chat, which is coming up. Some people don't like this on the side of their screen. There's a little up arrow here next to participant that says pop out. So I can actually move this around, make it bigger or smaller to somewhere where it suits me. Okay, I personally prefer it merged to meeting window. I prefer it there. Other people don't. Renelle, you had a question?
Yes, please, Terry. Where would one, if you're hosting an event, where would one put a welcome screen?
So I would, this is how I tend to do it. So I would spotlight myself, spotlight for everyone. Okay.
Yeah.
Then I would go to my background, my virtual background. I would choose something like, so this is a real event that I did for them. And then I would just move my camera off. So when they come into the room, that's what they see.
Ah, okay.
You
Excellent.
could also do it just with a PowerPoint, that you just play that PowerPoint when they come in, I just find it easier to do it as a background.
That's a great thing as a background.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I find backgrounds quite useful for stuff like that. Okay.
So the process, sorry, Terry, is you spotlight yourself on your thumbnail.
Yes. Can you see my screen here? I've got an option to remove the spotlight, but I could do it with you. I could spotlight you. Okay, so you spotlighted for everyone, but then you need to show your background. So whoever spotlighted, their background comes up. Okay, I can remove your spotlight. Right. I'm going to go back to gallery view. Okay, so let's just recap. We started at the top here. The green shield, always be ticked. We can go to, from the green shield, these things are in my way. We can get to all our in-meeting controls. Okay. At the bottom, we've got a mute or an unmute with a little up arrow, which we can jump straight to our audio settings, or we can test it and make sure we've got the right mic. People often phone me as well, and they bought a lapel mic and they're going, it's not working. You have to tell Zoom that I'm now not using this mic, I'm using this mic or something. It doesn't just know because you've plugged in a mic. Okay, so if you're changing your speaker or you're changing your mic, tell Zoom you're doing that. The better thing to do is in your audio settings, go down and say, press and hold space bar to temporarily unmute yourself, unless you're doing a 20-minute or a 30-minute talk. But if you just want to butt in, say your bit and butt out, it's much easier to use the space bar. Then we looked at our video. We've got our video settings, we've got our virtual backgrounds and our video filters. Here they come up, the standard ones. You can press on the plus, you can add images or videos. And you'll just have to go and find whichever one you want to pull in. You can design it in Canva or whatever you like. The video filters are these ones supplied by Zoom, and you can be as silly or as serious as you like. And remember your makeup in the corner. The only one I tend to really use is the, not like that. I use a little bit of lipstick because it doesn't smudge and it lasts the whole meeting. But yeah, okay. So we've done the mute, the stop video, security essential. Do not start a meeting as the host without checking your security. I cannot emphasize that enough. This gives you the control. Nobody can share a screen. If I wanted in this meeting, say Mel to share a screen, the easiest thing for me to do would be to make her co-host, because a co-host has got the same power and they can share a screen. So I would go and make Mel, oh, she was co-host. So I'll remove it and I will make Daniela. I'm going to make her co-host. That means she can share her screen. Once she's finished sharing her screen, I'll just go and take the co-host away from her. That's if you just want to allocate like 1 or 2 people. If you're in a very safe environment and you want people to be able to share their screen, then with pleasure, tick the share screen. And remember, even if you're in a Toastmasters or a meeting and you allow people to share screen and they come up with some rubbish, you straight away go and click on remove participant, douche, out the meeting, and there their screen will go. Do not even give them a second, okay? And every single time someone's done inappropriate, I report them to Zoom, because really, if you can't behave in a meeting, you know, it's fine if you're with your buddies on a Friday and you're messing around in any kind of business or club or event, behave yourself. And I'm actually quite wuss with this. Okay. The next thing is the polls. Now, you can set up a poll halfway through the meeting, but 99% of the time, it is better to set up your poll beforehand, which I'm going to show you when we're looking at the Zoom on the web. But if you wanted to set up a poll, it'll tell you no polls or quizzes created. Let's create one. And now can you see it's taken us to the web? We want to give our poll a name, a test poll. And here's your question. What is your first question? Are we having fun yet? Then you can decide, do you want a single choice or a multiple choice? We're going to have single choice. Choice 1 is no. No, it's Friday afternoon. Second choice is yes, I'm having fun. And our third choice is, oh, no, don't wake me up. You can have endless choices. You can add another question. Let's save this. Now I'm going to go back to my Zoom meeting and I'm now going to run a poll. So here's the poll. No one else can see it yet. I can see it as the host. I have to launch the poll. Okay, so I launch it. Now you guys must quickly go and answer it, please, because then I can show you what happens next. Can you see across the top? I can see 3 out of 6 participants, 4 out of 6 have participated. So I can kind of see when it's coming to the end of the poll because I don't want it up there forever. When I've had enough, when enough people have answered it, remember as host and co-host, you cannot answer the poll. Okay, so sometimes it makes it awkward at like Toastmasters when we're voting for the best speaker because the host and the co-host can't vote. But mostly the host is running the meeting. He should just be the technical host. But then I end the poll, but it gives me some options. I can share the results. And can you see there's 3 little dots next to the share results in like a little gray box. Zoom is famous for this. Whenever you see 3 little dots, there's something behind the scene. So I click on the 3 little dots. I can relaunch the poll. I can download my results, or I can review the results from a browser, or I can share them on the screen. So if I can share them on the screen, you should be able to see the poll results. If I stop sharing, and I say view results from browser. Oh, I didn't spell poll very well. But anyway, in a browser, there are your poll results. Okay. You can also download them into a Excel spreadsheet. Once again, you go to your 3 little dots and download results. It should open a spreadsheet. And there they are. So you've got to be careful when you do a poll if you do it anonymous or unanonymous, because now I can see who voted for what. So the question was, are we having fun yet? Sina Sivu said yes. Daniela said yes. Renelle said yes. Mel said, don't wake me up. You see. Okay, so the polls are very, you are awake, Mel. Okay, I think we're going to have a 5-minute break or a 10-minute break. Just go and just clear your head because we have done a lot of stuff. And can you see we're only halfway around the screen? We have only got in an hour, we started, where's my annotate? We started up here and we've got down here and we've got 2 polls. So we have a way to go. Does anyone have any questions before we just have a clear our head break?
A quick one.
Yes, of course.
The poll, it only appears if you are a host, eh?
Yes, yes.
On your okay.
The host is the only one who can run the poll because you'll see
Okay.
it's set up in my account. Because we're going to go and look behind the scenes and I can always pull up my poll results. Yeah. And
Okay.
yeah.
Sorry, if you make me a co-host, will I be able to do it?
Let me try. They had, you know, Zoom keeps updating quite a lot. So you co-host. Can you see poll along the bottom?
Yes, yes.
Okay, just run it quickly. Run the poll, just click on it.
I just did. Can't you see anything? Let me share results.
Oh, there we
Are you
go.
seeing anything?
Yeah, I can see it. Okay, so co-host can do it.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Perfect.
Terry,
Yes.
if for example, you want to change your name, like for me, my character on YouTube, I want to interview someone as my character to have the name at the bottom instead of my real name. How do I do that?
So here we're like on my, let me share my screen so you can see what I'm doing. Like here where mine says Terry Winship.
Yes.
So what you do is you go anywhere on your video, or I can change Lennox's name. You can just, you can see, there's 3 little dots in the top of the corner, or you can just randomly right click on it and go to rename.
Okay.
Um,
Cool. Thank
All right.
you.
Very quick, that background. You remember I asked you before the meeting about the background. The Toastmasters background, these guys, they actually like to use. While we were there, I'm not sure, is it because of my old, what you call, maybe app, I don't know. I'm not accessing, like I said to you, I'm not accessing that kind of info.
Terry, you're on mute.
Oh, she's been talking to me.
I'm talking. Lennox, are you on a computer or an iPad?
It's a computer.
And when you go to next to your video,
Background.
yeah, do you get choose virtual background?
It's got background and filters.
Okay, so choose
Or must I go?
virtual background. Choose virtual background.
Virtual background, yes.
And you should
I've got none and blur.
okay, so you need to go to that plus button and pull in. Someone must email you that Toastmasters thing. You must store it on your hard drive. Then you must go in plus
Okay.
and you must pull it in.
Then I can just edit on. All right.
You can just add them on. So you can see
Okay.
these are used for Toastmasters for my timers, like speaking too much, got time to go. Yeah. Yeah. So you
Yeah, where can we get those? Where can we get those?
I can just email them to you, but I
Please.
just made plain colored ones.
I also saw someone with some robots. How do you do that?
They had
With the robot.
I'm not sure, but anything that you create outside of Zoom, you can pull into Zoom.
Hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
So you need to just get someone to email those things to you, and then you can pull them in.
Cool. No,
Okay.
thanks. And then the music, we'll get to it later
Yes, the
on.
music is coming. We're doing
Exciting
poll,
part.
we're doing chat and then share screen, and that's when the music comes in.
All right.
Perfect. I'm going to grab a
All
cup
right.
of coffee and I will be back at 4 o'clock.
All right. Thanks, Terry.
See you now.
Ronel, are you not taking coffee or something? You are muted. I can see you are talking to me.
Hi, Lennox.
Hi, I was
Can you hear
asking.
me? Yeah,
All right.
I'm just trying to figure out something
Oh,
about what was it? So I've had a coffee before. I've just got water here, so I'm fine.
all right.
So
Cool.
I just want to quickly try and find out something.
Sisinangamso? Magic. She's probably drinking coffee somewhere.
Are we all back? Oh goodness, my lipstick looks terrible. Just take it off.
I'm back, so
Okay,
yeah.
it's 4 o'clock. I think we should get going. We have a lot more to do. So far,
I'm also back.
cool, excellent. Did it make sense what we've done so far?
Yep.
And where to find
Yes.
stuff?
It's been very informative. I actually I really enjoyed the part about also having your co-host being able to take over polls. Like that was very informative. So yeah, it's been very informative for me. Thank you so much.
Brilliant. Okay, I'm going to share my screen again. And now, I'm just waiting for it. Okay. Annotate and spotlight. Okay, so we looked at the poll. And the next one that pops up is chat. If you click on it, I certainly don't want it full screen, that's for sure. Merge to meeting window, you can get your chat down here at the bottom. So remember, in the security, we could turn the chat on or off, but we have options here as well. Now I'm in the bottom right-hand corner, so you might want to do that to 100% or something. There it says the chat to everybody. Oh, here's Mel in the waiting room. Shame. Just let her in quickly. Can you see in the chat? If you click on the everybody, I need to put myself in the waiting room. Put in the waiting room. Can you see I can send a message to everyone in the waiting room? So if I choose that option, I can say to them, doors will open in 5 minutes or something. They can't reply back to me, but everyone who's sitting in the waiting room is going to see that message on their screen. I don't think they can reply back to me. No. So you can send them a message, but you can't reply back to them. Okay. So that's how you send your message to someone in the waiting room, everyone in the meeting, or particular people. But if you want to be really fussy, can you see there are 3 little dots over here? Right across where it says to everyone, there's 3 little dots. Gives you an option to save the chat, or you can say participants can chat with nobody, with the hosts and the co-hosts only, with everyone publicly and privately. So this is the point where you can say, sometimes if you disable the chat, people can get stuck. So then you choose that they can only speak to you or the co-host, or they can only speak to people publicly so that everyone can see the chat. It used to be defaulted to publicly and directly. I very seldom use that because I don't think people should be sending private chats to anyone when I am in control of a meeting. So I either choose everyone or just the host and the co-host, or no one. So you can allow chat, but you can restrict it further. Mel, does that help your question?
Yes, thank you, Terry.
Perfect. Okay. So there are lots of hidden things in Zoom. Whenever you see those tiny, and it's tiny, like lurking right in this tiny little corner here. If you click on it, it pops up a menu that gives you options. Okay. We're going to do exactly the same looking at the participants. Can you see there are 3 little dots here? If you click on that, you can ask everyone to unmute. You can mute them upon entry, allow them to unmute themselves, allow them to rename themselves, play a sound when someone enters or joins. Very annoying, but you can do it. You can take the waiting room on and off here, or you can lock the meeting. So Zoom often has the same thing in different places. So under the security, I can enable a waiting room, or if I go to my participants panel, I can click on the 3 dots and I can take the tick off the waiting room, which means there is no waiting room. Exactly the same with the chat. 3 little dots down here. I can force who you can speak to. So if I say everyone, you can't direct message. It says you can. Huh, how rude. So I'm trying to type to Daniela. Hello. That's interesting because I'm actually not allowing her to do it to everyone. But be that as it may. Right. You can, of course, close your participants and close your chat and you get a full screen. Now what we are going to look at now is the share screen. This is where a lot of the magic happens. And this is, as the host, possibly something you will be doing a lot. The first thing you must notice is, can you see next to the share screen is a tiny little up arrow? And we know now whenever there's an up arrow, there are more options. If you click on that, only one participant can share at a time, or multiple participants can share simultaneously. I don't know if you ever will have a meeting where you will have 10 people sharing a screen, or maybe you will have 2. 90% of the time, only one person shares at a time. You do have advanced sharing options, and this is important. How many participants can share at the same time? If I say multiple participants, I have no control at all. If I say one participant at a time, and I say all participants can share, and it says who can share when someone else is sharing. So if someone else is sharing a rude screen or an inappropriate screen, only the host can share, and I can share over their screen. So make sure you always keep control. That I normally say only the host can share, but if I say participants can share, if they're sharing something, I can just block them and share my screen on top of theirs. Okay, so this we found next to the share screen in the little up arrow. One participant can share at a time, only the host, or if everyone can share, I can share on top of and kill their share. Okay, now let's look at the sharing options, because I just need to let myself in from the waiting room quickly. Right.
Recording in progress.
Thank you. Okay, so now, can you see there's basic, advanced, and files? 90% of the time you're working with basic. I've got 2 screens. So I'm currently sharing this screen where you can see me talking. Why is there still a poor result here? I've got a second screen open with nothing on it. There is a whiteboard, pretty primitive, but I can share it and you can see what it does. Can you see there's text, drawing, stamps, spotlights, eraser, format, undo, redo. I can type something. So if I go to my format, I can make it size 72. I can choose it to be green. And I can say, hello, oh, green. Hello, people. I can draw around it. Blah, blah, blah. I can put a stamp on it. Okay, very basic, but sometimes it's useful. I can clear everything I've done. I can also save, if you can see up here, I can also save whatever was in the whiteboard. Now, if I'm sharing, okay, I'm going to stop sharing. Let's go back and share my screen. And go back to the share screen. You can share absolutely anything that is open on your desktop. If you open this and you want to share a PowerPoint and it doesn't show here, it's because you haven't opened it yet. I can't quickly go and open a PowerPoint and then expect it to show here. So if my PowerPoint isn't here, I must close the share. I must go outside of Excel, outside of Zoom. I'm just going to open a random PowerPoint. How to speak on camera. There we go. And I must play it. Now I come into share again. And that's the important part, is you must have something open before. Here is my PowerPoint. It wasn't showing here just now because I hadn't opened it before I clicked the share button. So my advice is, if you're in a meeting, close everything else on your screen. You can come in here and they are, can you see it's got show all windows? I've got so much stuff open. So close down your wall, close down your calendar, close down your WhatsApp, close down your reminders. Only have the things open that you want to share. So essentially sharing is very easy. It will share whatever is on your screen as long as it is open. If I want to share my Word document, I can't see it here. I must stop share. I must go to my Word document. I must open it. I must then come back to my share screen, and there's my document. Here's my document. And simply you click on it and you can share it. Simple as that. I've got two screens, so I could share my second screen. I've showed you the whiteboard. Very useful to be able to share your iPhone or your iPad. I'm going to just share my iPhone with you. I don't think this works with Android, unfortunately. But if I choose to share my iPhone, wait now. It's trying to share my iPad and I wanted it to do my iPhone. Sorry, I'm just turning my iPad off. And I'm going to try and share my iPhone because I've got them both on. So now what you should see on the computer screen is this is exactly what my iPhone sees. So if I go there, my messages from Mel. Oh, Mel, her plug stripped. Okay, there's my Facebook. If I go to my WhatsApp, I can also turn it sideways. So I sometimes do training in how to use WhatsApp, believe it or not. And I teach people how to put up their labels. So if I look at my labels and I want to go to Toastmasters, everyone from Toastmasters is there. So it is sharing the content on my phone. There's my phone in my hand, and whatever I'm doing on my phone is showing on my shared screen. You can do this with an iPad or an iPhone, but it can be useful, especially if you want to do a drawing app and you can draw with your hand on your iPad instead of using the whiteboard here. I don't know if I have a drawing app. Oh, I've got a drawing desk. I don't know. Oh, great. I'm so great at art. Okay, this one you have to buy. But so whatever is on your iPhone, you can share on your, oh, now I'm stuck. Oh, there we go. And then I can turn it off. So I can either share, well, I share with my TV screen, or I was sharing with Zoom Terry, and I can stop mirroring. I actually, I must do it over here. I actually find that quite useful because sometimes I am training on apps that are on my phone. So you can do it, but only iPhone, and I'm not sure why. So I'm going to share my screen again. So any app that is currently open, you can see here. Second screen I've got, the whiteboard we looked at, the iPhone and the iPad, you can share here. So if I wanted to share my Word document, I would click on that and click on the share button over here. Let's have a look. Let me just annotate my screen because there are two very important things you need to see here. Can you see there's a little thing down here that says share sound and optimize for video? Not drawing very well. If I click on share sound and optimize for video, that will share my computer sound. Okay, so if you're going to be sharing a video, I'm going to show you an easier way of doing it. Or music, you could just click share sound and then you can go to whatever music you like on your computer, Spotify, iTunes, whatever. Just make sure your share sound is clicked. Okay. Often you don't want your computer sounds to come through, but there is an advanced button over here. This is very interesting. I'm going to show you how that works. PowerPoint as your virtual background. A portion of your screen, your computer audio. Lennox, if you want to play music, this is what you click. You click a computer audio and share. I'm going to go to my Spotify quickly. Open. And I'm going to play a little very dramatic. Now, the volume is controlled in Spotify. So that is how you play music by using the share computer sound. You control the volume in the app that is playing the music. I'm in Spotify. I can okay, so I was sharing my screen and then I was showing you the share screen. We were looking at advanced. There's computer audio. That's how you share music, because while the music is playing, you can carry on talking, you can let people in and out. And also I can stop it in Spotify and then restart it later on. Okay, so that is your music option. If you want to play a video, this is what you choose. If you click on video here, can you see automatically? Let me see if I can annotate. It's chosen share sound and optimize for video clip. Oh, sorry, I dropped my mouse. Need to get back onto Zoom, sorry. So if I was going to share a video clip, I click on the share on the advanced on video. I click share. And it asks me what recording do I want to share. This is the one I showed you earlier on, participants view. I decide, okay, that's one I want to share. I click on open. It comes up on my screen and I've got an option to press play, and when I play it, it's going to play it on your screen. Does that make sense? So I'm sharing my screen. So sharing, you've got basic, which is the whiteboard, the iPhone, or any screen open on your laptop or your computer. If you go to advanced, you can play just your computer sound. So whatever app is making a sound on your computer will play. If you want to share a video, you click on video, you go and select which video you want to play, and then it will play the video. So this is a beta feature, and it is quite interesting. So instead of having a virtual background, my whole PowerPoint is going to be the background. Let me show you how that looks. I need to find a PowerPoint. Actually, I've just done a PowerPoint for her. Nope. Final. Andy Murray. No, it's not a good one. Sorry. So now can you see what's happened is that the background is actually my PowerPoint. And can you see I'm this little thing here in the bottom, but I can move myself around on the screen. I can actually make myself bigger or smaller. I can move myself here. And can you see in the middle of the screen, it says 1 of 11 slides. I can click to go to the next slide, next slide, next slide, next slide. So now my background is actually my PowerPoint. It is a beta feature only. You can move yourself around and you can make yourself bigger or smaller. I've done this for some of my Toastmasters speeches. It was quite fun. And it's entirely up to you if you want to use it. It is a beta feature, but it is quite cute. So instead of showing a PowerPoint and you know how we looked at the participants sharing, I've got a floating head and I float around on the PowerPoint. I go through all my screens and I can move myself around on the screen. What do you think of that? That could be quite interesting. Once again, we were looking at advanced sharing. And we use this one, PowerPoint as a virtual background. Once again, that will depend on your computer's processing power. Portion of the screen used to be useful. I never use it anymore. I use computer sound for music, video to show it. If you have 2 cameras, which I have never actually tried, it's bad enough having 1 view of me, not 2, but anyway. You can also share files. I can get them from Dropbox, Microsoft OneDrive, Google Drive, Box, or Microsoft SharePoint. You can also share files in your chat. I'll show you how to do that. I think my thing is turned off for sharing files. I will get back to you on sharing the files. Okay. Does anyone have any questions about sharing the screen? Because that's really what a lot of what you're doing in the meeting is happening. Any questions? You can just hold down your space bar and shout it out.
Terry?
Yes.
I am the co-host. I wanted to practice while you do it, but every time I do, it says it's gonna kick you out. Can you quickly stop making me a co-host? Then I will try and see if I'm able to navigate.
Oh, no, it was because I was screen sharing, so I'm not screen sharing. Try and play music for us. So just go to the share screen to advanced and computer sound.
Okay.
Okay, and I can.
Advance.
Okay, and then go to, I don't know what you've got, Spotify or what you've got, or.
Wait. So I've got basic, so I must go to advanced, eh?
Yeah, go to advanced.
Then say computer audio.
Computer audio. And then you need to go and play a song somewhere on your computer.
Then it should play.
Yeah, do you want to find one quickly?
Yeah, quickly, let me do that.
And if you've got iTunes or what you got. Found something?
Yeah, I think it's still loading.
Okay. So there it goes.
Is it playing?
Play.
All right. And
Okay.
then you said control the volume.
From the app that you're playing it from.
Oh. So is it soft now? Like I'm turning it down?
Little bit
Soft now.
softer, yes. Perfect.
Oh,
She only
so
smiles.
it's that simple.
He
Okay.
only tells her
Oh,
that she's the flowers,
I'm
the
going to stop you
wind
sharing.
dance.
thank you.
There we go. So everyone
Mm.
knows how to share music, how to share your screen. Try if you've got an iPad, only if it's of use, and how to share files. Let's continue with our journey around here. We did share screen, then there's recording. You've got stop, pause, or record. If you want to have 4 separate recording files, you can stop your recording and restart it and stop it and restart it. It will give it to you in 4 separate files. In the top corner, it always shows you that you are recording. And there's your pause and there's your stop. It always has this button on. So recording is fairly straightforward. This feature over here called live transcript is quite a new feature of Zoom, and some people love it and other people hate it. I do quite a lot of Zooms for old people and they love it. So what it does is if you click on it and I go to live transcript and I enable it, can you see here at the bottom of my screen, right at the bottom, as I'm talking, it is typing my words. Can everyone see that? Can you see that on your screen?
That's so cool. Yeah.
Yes, how do you do that? Can you go back?
I will go back. So it's like on TV, but remember, it doesn't always get it right. The nice thing about that is you can actually capture this. Okay, so I think I have to turn it off first.
Does this only apply to English?
Look, so
I
as
actually, I was thinking about that, Mel. I want to confuse Google quick.
As
I want to
far,
confuse them.
as far as I understand, you can buy a third-party software that will translate it, and it will be from that app store for Zoom. But I've never tried it. Okay, so what you do, can you see at the bottom here, it says live transcript. You've got to click on it, and you've got to click on enable auto transcription.
Okay.
And once you've clicked on it, it should start writing at the bottom. You can also drag it. Can you see I've dragged it up my screen? Just so it's over here. If I go back to the transcript, right next to it, let me just get rid of all these little, can you see next to the transcript, there's a little up arrow. I can hide it. I can view the full transcript. And can you see now the transcript as I'm talking is coming out here in the chat on the side. And after the meeting, I can get this in a text document and take it into Word and edit it. Quite useful. But it is only on the latest versions of Zoom, and your computer must have enough processing power. Ek gaan sien as dit werk in Afrikaans. Nee, dit werk glad nie. Nee.
I siblings in this course are only English.
Yes, sorry. But there is a way of getting simple translations. I've heard of people in Zooms who've done a translation into German, French, Spanish, all at the same time. But it's a third-party software called Otto that you have to buy. So it is possible.
Sorry,
Yes,
sorry, Terry, it's live script, eh?
yes, live transcript.
Live transcript and then subtitle setting.
Yeah, well, let me show you again. Okay, so you're looking on my screen. So it's live transcript. You click on it to start it. Okay, I'm going to stop it now. I stop it where it says disable auto transcription. Okay. Can you see here there's a user third-party caption service?
Yes, yes.
That's where you would buy the Otto and tell it to translate into whatever language. If I enable it, can you see it will start talking? If I go to the little up arrow next to it and I go to subtitle settings, this is that, remember we looked at it earlier, I can make my script big or I can make it small. So it is currently on very large. You might have to make the script big on your side as well. But can you see it's merrily writing everything I say in the side here? I just want to close that and I want to close that. It can be a very, very useful setting, especially if you're talking to people who are possibly hard of hearing. And just move that right out the way. Okay, live transcript, worth playing with. Breakout rooms. Let's quickly look at how to set up breakout rooms. They are very useful. You click on breakout rooms. You can assign them automatically, assign them manually, and let participants choose which room to go into. At the moment, I'm just going to do a manual assignment. And it says, how many rooms do you want? So if I have 3 rooms, I want to assign them manually. I say create. I can come and give the rooms a name. The fun room. There we have it. The serious room. And the sleeping room. Okay. It's better to give rooms proper names. What is very important, the rooms haven't started yet. So you can do this right at the beginning of your meeting and leave it on your screen until you're ready. There are options down here at the bottom, and this is what catches people out with breakout rooms. If you click on these options, you can tick to allow participants to choose their own room. You can allow them to return to the main session at any time. Mostly, if you send them away to the room, you want them to be there for 10 minutes. You don't want them to come back if they're bored with that room. You can automatically move them into all the breakout rooms. This is important to tick it on. Also, the little thing comes up and says, Terry, do you want to move into the fun room? And you've got to do a step, or you can make it happen automatically. Can you see here, your breakout room will close automatically after 5 minutes. So if you want a long breakout room, maybe 55 minutes. But I've had some people who've run a breakout room and they say it just keeps closing. Like we just get started and it closes. It's because the time here, it will close automatically after X minutes, okay? Notify me when the time is up. Give me a countdown in seconds. So I want 100 seconds to know the room is going to create. So before you go and create the rooms or open the rooms, check your options. Don't get caught out that your breakout room is only 1 minute. Okay. The host never goes into a breakout room, but we can visit them. So now I want to assign. If I click on assign, it shows me everyone in the meeting. So into this room, I want Daniela. Into this room, I want Lennox. Into this room, I want Mel. And these people here have not been assigned into rooms. So if I click on there again, I can then say who goes into this room, who goes into this room. And can you see it only brings up the people who haven't been allocated yet? So 2, 2, 2. If I click on that, I can see Mel is here and Sifu is here, but I can exchange her. If I actually wanted her to be in room 1, I can exchange her and exchange her with Daniela. And now they've swapped places in the room. So as a host, you have quite a lot of control who goes into the rooms. So you can move them. And as soon as you open the rooms, you guys are all going to be sent into a room, which I don't, well, maybe I'll make the room 1 minute and 10 seconds. Yes.
May I just ask a question? There with the options. So yes, you've assigned us into rooms, but you want to change something in the options. Can you change the options while we are in the breakout rooms in process or only before?
Only before. So it happened to me the
Okay.
other day. It was set to 5 minutes and we wanted 45 minutes, and I had this panic and I rushed in here and it was too late. I was quite embarrassed because everybody came back from the room and I had to resend them back. So that's why I was emphasizing, before you open the room, check your options, because this is what catches people out. You don't understand, you've sent them to a room and a minute later they're all back. It's because of this option here. Okay. You can also, if I want to recreate, you can assign people automatically into the breakout rooms. And it's now decided itself who goes into what room. If it doesn't matter who's in what room, then you do it automatically. It'll just evenly divide it. I can add a room. There's room 4. Shame there's no one in it. But I can, no, you see, I can't even automatically move this person now because it's an automatic assignment. If you're going to do this, play around with it beforehand. If it's automatically assignment, you're stuck with what Zoom decides. If you do it manually and you've got 400 people in your meeting, you're going to have to go like here and click 400 for this room, 400 for this room, 400 for this room. So it does depend on the amount of people in your room. If you want to let participants decide, and once again, you can delete this room and delete this room. I would suggest you always rename them. And the nice thing about this is why you have a host and a co-host. The co-host can be sitting in the background, renaming the rooms, assigning the people, but until he hits open all rooms, nothing happens. He's just allocating and checking the options, etc. in the background. Okay. So if you're going to assign automatically, you decide how many rooms you want. I think there's a limit of 255. If you want 3 rooms, and it says to you at the bottom, 2 to 3 participants for you recreated, automatically assign them. You go to your options, you say how long you want them to be in. Can they come back to the main room? Or are they forced to stay in that room? How long is your countdown? And as the host, I need to know when the rooms are done. I can assign manually. I'm going to have 2 rooms. I recreate. Oh, I want to delete and delete. I don't know why I did those. I rename it to be my room. And I can click on assign and I decide who comes into this room and who comes into this room. It only shows me the people who haven't been assigned. I can take Mel and I can move her to that room, or I can exchange Mel with Terry and they swap places. But all of this happens before the room is opened. The minute I click open all rooms, everyone disappears into their room. Any questions on this? Because this is important. And remember, what happens in the room, like Fight Club, stays in the room. If Daniela and all these guys here are talking, I can't hear them as a host. It is not recorded from the main screen, and these guys can't hear you either. It's almost like you're running a subsection of Zoom, your own little Zoom in the room. The new release of Zoom also promises whatever PowerPoint I have on the main screen you can see in the breakout room, you currently can't. But that will change. And quite often people I see are using this where participants can decide which room they want to go into. So you might have, I don't know, people who've had COVID, people who have had the injection, people who are anti, I don't know, they can decide what room. But a very useful feature, breakaway rooms. Does anyone have any questions with that?
So I have a question.
Yes.
if you have a co-host and you've also allowed your co-host to sign in people or to assign people into rooms, let's say you have a Zoom meeting of a very like a lot of participants. Can they, for example, if you are adding people in, can they override that? Like how, are they able to override that? And for example, like just remove people that you've added into certain groups? Like what is the power between co-host and host when it comes to adding people onto the breakout room?
Both do the same thing, but I mean, you have to decide upfront. Someone's doing the breakout rooms, because the point is me adding you to this room and then the co-host moving you.
Yeah.
But normally, I mean, it doesn't normally happen. You're not like fighting over the rooms. You say, the main host, you the speaker, in the background, I'm doing the breakaway rooms. As a host, you can also go in and out of the rooms. You can pop in to check everyone is okay. You can do that as well, which I can't show you because I'll have to, I wonder if I can put, let me just see if I can put one person in a room. I'm going to just have one room and I'm going to assign my iPad to that room and I open that room. So then it shows me these people haven't been assigned to a room yet, which is quite nice. I can quickly go and assign them. Terry Winship is in that breakaway room all by herself, feeling really lonely. I can move her to a different room. And can you see there's a join button here? As the host or the co-host, I can join that room. Make sure everyone is fine, and then I can come back and I can go and join another room. I can also, you see there's an option to broadcast a message to all, and that will go to every single room. I could say rooms are closing in 120 seconds. So this is from the host sending a message to everyone in the room. I can come here and I can assign, I'm not going to send any of you into a cold room. I could assign you, there's only room one option, or personally I could join the room, or, oh, you see there's 1 minute is up because I only set it to 1 minute. Oh, actually I see here you can keep it open, you can overwrite it, new Zoom feature, nice. Or I can close it manually and force everyone back. It's busy closing it and then everyone will come back into the meeting. Don't go and do a live thing with breakaway rooms unless you've tested it. I sometimes get my daughter's laptop, my iPad, my iPhone, and phone 3 friends and just say, just sit on Zoom and let me play and see what happens. It's worth practicing because you don't want to make a mess when you're live and people are impatient. Okay, why do I keep getting, oh, stop sharing, okay. That was breakout rooms, reactions, well, I mean, if there's my raise my hand, there's like multiple reactions now. Whatever I click on here, a pair of shoes shows on my top corner of my screen for a couple of seconds. Not overly exciting. Remember I told you about apps? I haven't integrated an app yet. It's quite new in Zoom. And I just quickly want to show you how to share live on Facebook. The easiest thing to normally do is have your Facebook open in the background. So I'm just going to check my Facebook is open. No, it's not. So generally in Zoom, rather have your PowerPoint, everything open that you want to be dealing with. Okay, here's my Facebook. I'm going to go back into Zoom. Right, so you see there's the button we're dealing with says more here in this bottom corner. Click on more and say live on Facebook or live on YouTube. You can't do 2 lives. You can't do Facebook and YouTube. You can go to Facebook or to YouTube. So if I go live on Facebook, okay, it tells me it's setting up the stream. Here's the title. I can have a description. Who should see this? I'm going to take it from public and to say only me, because this is my live Facebook. But obviously, normally, you would be choosing public or friends. Whatever you type in here is going to be the description for the video. You click go live, and it sometimes takes a bit of a while. Can you see it's preparing to live stream? This meeting is now live streamed. Got it. If I come back to my meeting, can you see in my top left-hand corner, it tells me I'm live on Facebook. If I go into my Facebook on my cell phone, there I am live on Facebook. Easy peasy, simple, straightforward. It runs a couple of seconds behind, but it is live. Can you see there's a drop down arrow here? I can stop the live stream. I can view it so I can see what it looks like on Facebook, or I can copy the streaming link. So I can copy this link, and then I can go into an email or into my WhatsApp on my computer, and I can just email it. They click on that link and it'll open it up on the Facebook Live. So I'm just going to stop it. But no one could see mine now currently because I had it to me only. Okay. It takes an enormous amount of resource because your picture on Zoom is zooming out to everyone on Zoom. Plus, in the background, you're zooming it onto Facebook. So if you don't have a fast internet speed, you're going to have a very like on Facebook. Okay. But sometimes when I've done, like we've had public speakers speaking and we broadcasted on Facebook, we've had an amazing response because people are lazy to log into Zoom. When they log into Facebook, it always tells you when there's a live video on. The only thing you can't do is you can't make people buy a ticket for Zoom and then broadcast it free on Facebook. But very simple. I personally have never broadcast to YouTube, but as my understanding is that it is absolutely very similar. Any questions on this section? Because now we are going to go and look at what you can do on the web.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Are we able to live stream on Facebook to another person's page or to a company group?
So what you have to do, I do that often, but like if I want to live stream onto Andre's page, he must make me admin of his page, or I must log in as him. So I often, and it was Daniela, I live streamed onto your page. Remember when we did that, that thing that I did for you? God, I can't think of the name, but I logged in as an admin on that page and then I could live stream to them. So I can't just like randomly go and live stream now to your page, Mel, because I can't just take over the page. If you make me an admin on your page, or if I'm logged in as you on my computer, I can live stream to your page. So like I did for the Players Fund, I often do for Andre, I did for Daniela when she had her thingy. And then I often just go and remove myself as admin afterwards. But yeah, so it's not forced to be your personal page. You could do it to your business page or any page in which you are an admin. Let me just see if I live stream that again, if it gives me an option. Connected, Terry Winship. Can you see it says choose where to post your Zoom video? And if I click on that, I can share to my page or to my group. So when I share to my group, well, here's my group. So these are all the groups I'm on. Oh, the Bull Terrier South Africa, the 360. So I can share to any of these groups because I am a member of that group. The Bethesda Country Club. I mean, it's quite rude because I could go to, this is me, purpose-driven woman, even though I'm not an admin, and just live stream to it. Okay, so you can choose here. Choose where to post your Zoom on your own timeline, to your page, or to any group you belong to. If you choose a group, then it will come up and you can choose which group, the small business, virtual assistant job, the world, hiking. Oh, this is the one I'm normally doing, the big positive guy. I'm normally doing it to his. But all of these groups you must be a member of, and or you must be a admin. And then you can, oh God, I don't want to go to that one for sure. The Bulteria Club. Then can you see if you share into a group, you've got no option to make it private. It forces it to be public. If I am sharing on my own timeline, I can make it only me. And this is normally what you're doing when you're testing. Okay. Any questions around Facebook sharing? Very powerful way of sharing messages, actually. And obviously you need to understand with the POPI Act that if people's phones are on and they can be seen on Facebook, you have to tell them that. You know, if they don't want to be seen or heard, that they must turn off their cameras. Okay, so basically we've looked at, there's a couple more things I can show you on here quickly. In this top right hand corner, I can mute myself, and there's 3 little dots there. I can mute my audio, stop my video, choose a virtual background, choose a video filter. I can pin, I can spotlight for everyone. I can hide my own view, edit my profile picture. I can rename myself. And then right in the topmost corner, there are views. I can look at the speaker view, the gallery view. If I choose show non-video participants, can you see all your profile pictures come up here on my screen? Normally, I only see people whose video is on, but sometimes I want to see them all. And if I wanted to go to Lennox over here, can you see if I hover over his block, 3 little dots come up. I can make him host, I can remove his co-host, I can rename him, I can report him, I can unmute him, I can ask him to start his video. So I have some sort of control. Then I'm going to ask you to start your video, and Mel, will you just start your videos, please? There we go. So now what I can also do is, can you see I'm just dragging myself to be in the top right hand corner, and it should be reflecting on your screen. I'm putting Mel next to me. So I've got all the women at the top, and Lennox is down in the corner. Sorry, Lennox, it's a male-female thing. So I have some control of, so Mel, if you turn, just turn to your right or your left. Okay, and if I turn like this, can you see it looks like we're actually talking to each other? But it's quite hard because, so you as the host, and I'm assuming the co-host can do it, you can just pull the order of the people you want to appear on your screen, which can be very useful because you might have 2 speakers. It might be Renelle and Mel, and then I'm just like an arbitrary visitor. So the 2 people at the bottom are audience, but the 2 people at the top are important. Okay, so a nice thing to know that you can control the order. But if I hide non-video participants, I can still do it. So it's actually quite nice because now I only see the people who've bothered to turn their cameras, or not who've bothered. I mean, some people won't. But it gives you a tiny bit of control. But remember, the person on that side can make the screen bigger and smaller. They can go into gallery mode. Most people will just sit and accept, you know, what you're doing. And my main 2 speakers at the top and the other people at the bottom. A nice feature. You'll see what happens. Can you see I'm on Mel's one and I've got a little hand? That means I can grab and pull Mel to somewhere. Okay. So that is kind of everything to do when you're running a meeting. But there are some things you can only do on Zoom on the web. Okay. You cannot do everything in the meeting. There's some stuff you want to set up before. One of them is the registration links. You can't set, or you can't, it's too late in the meeting to set up a registration link. Mostly you're going to put your polls up beforehand. And you want to extract reports, who came to the meeting, who registered and who didn't attend, and all sorts of stuff like that. So I'm going to share my my Zoom video conferencing. And I'm going to spotlight myself. Okay. So when you go, remember to always go to zoom.us. There are terrible people out there who've called it zoom.uk, zoom.nl. They are all bad sites. The only site you go to, let me just see if I can actually make this a little bit bigger, 100%. And I'm going to annotate my mouse. Draw. Okay. Make sure this is the address you're going to, zoom.us. It is the only valid Zoom because there are spoof sites that if you go into and log into it, they're going to capture your Zoom login details. They're going to change the password and they're going to steal your account. Be very careful on the internet. Okay. We are going to go and set up a meeting where people have to register before the meeting. You click on my account in the top left corner. Oh, I've actually made it too big now. Just hang on. 200% might be a little bit big. Okay. When you come into Zoom and you've logged in, this is the profile picture that is showed when you're in the meeting. This is the name that is shown when you're in the meeting. So if your name here was Mickey Mouse, come and change it properly. Okay. But what we are going to do is look at meetings. Zoom keeps control. These are all my upcoming meetings. Can you see this one? It gives me an option of joining. Zoom like a master. It's got a camera on. This is the live meeting I'm in. These are my upcoming ones that I'm doing. It also keeps a history of all my previous meetings that I've done. I have 15 pages, but it deletes them after a while, I think after 6 months or something. Personal rooms and meeting templates, which I'm going to show you, are fantastic things. Like I've set up a meeting template for our Toastmasters, and it's always got the 3 polls on it: best speaker, best evaluator, and best table topics. But let's go and set up a new meeting with a register. So we're going to schedule a meeting. We're going to call it test meeting to be deleted. Now this text here, where it says description, this is what the people are going to see when they come to register on your meeting. So this is blah, 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 blah. If you have a look at the bottom of this corner, there are 3 arrows, there are like 3 lines. You can actually pull this to be bigger so you can see what you're writing, or you can copy and paste it in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is what the people registering are going to see when they click the register. Okay. The date, the time, how long it is, the time zone. This is the important thing. Registration required. You must tick it yes. You cannot do this on the app. You cannot do this on your cell phone. The only place you can require a meeting to be registered is if you are setting up a meeting on the internet. Okay. Good. I'm going to come back to the templates because they are very, very, very useful, especially if you're doing a lot of the same meeting. So you could pull in a template here. Your passcode, you can change it. Can you see it's suggested one? But I can do Terry 2021. And I prefer to make my passwords. I don't know if you saw the one for today was Zoom 2021, or my personal one is Be Kind 2021. It just makes it easier for people to remember than some random number. But if you want a random number, that's also fine. I'm going to call it the Zoom Queen. Okay. Do you want a waiting room? Yes or no? There's this thing that says require authentication to join. if people are registered on your Zoom, that means they have to have a Zoom account, because you know people can just join Zoom on the web without ever having registered for Zoom. But if you're going to make them register, it won't let them register until they've opened an account in Zoom with their email, their name, their address, even if it's a free account. So for important meetings, I would click this to yes, which means whoever comes into your meeting must have a registered account with Zoom. So if they misbehave, you can report them. Okay. Then your video. Do you want the host on and off, the participant on and off? And there's this thing called audio. I have never in South Africa seen anyone join a Zoom with telephone only. Take that off. Because else when you generate that meeting ID, it comes up with like 400 phone numbers that are just absolute crap. So make it computer only. Okay. You have some meeting options. Allow participants to join anytime. Well, depends. If you strict like the theater and the show has started, you don't allow them to join in. If people are falling, I always allow them to join at any time. They're going to get stuck in the waiting room. I like to mute people when they come in, so we just control the background noise. You can pre-assign your breakout rooms. If you know it's a corporate thing that you've got 10 people, you can put it in a CSV, whatever file, and you can actually set up your breakout room before it starts. You create your rooms and you import the names. You must just make sure that I've got about 4 emails. If I've registered on Terry at whatever, I mustn't come in with my Google email because it won't be able to assign me. Request permission to unmute participants. I think that question I always put to yes, so I can actually go and mute or unmute you when necessary. If it's an important meeting, I would automatically record it because sometimes you forget. And am I still recording? Shit, now that I think about it. Yes, I'm still recording. Enable Disney, you can block people from specific countries or regions. You don't want any from China in your meeting, you can block them. Okay, and save. That's the first step. You set up your meeting pretty much like a normal meeting. Now we want to set up the registration. If we go to our meetings, here is our meeting, and this is the one that we want to do something with in the list. We can start it, edit it, or delete it. We just click on that or click on edit. It opens up and we come right down here to the bottom where this is registration. Can you see it's telling me I've got 0 people registered? Not surprising because I haven't sent it out. And you've got a view and then you've got an edit right here on the far right. Click on edit. Now this is us setting up our registration. Do you want to automatically approve? Anyone who registers can come in, or do you want to manually approve? You can go through the registration list and say, you can come, you can't come. You can even block someone before the meeting starts. You can say to them, I don't, even though they've registered, you can still block them from coming. Quite rude. You can get an email every time someone registers. Well, if you're having 4,000 people at your meeting, you probably won't. Allow attendees to join from multiple devices, which means someone can join on their computer, on their iPhone, and on their iPad. This can be very dangerous because it means I could have shared my link with other people. Most people turn that off because you only need to attend on one device. Up to you. If you're sharing this and you've got a Facebook page, you can share it. I don't bother to do that. So generally you automatically approve. If they've registered and they've typed it in, you're going to approve them. Now you've got questions. This is what comes up. Their last name, is it required? Are you forcing them? Yes. Do we want their address? Yes, but we're not going to force them. That's optional. Do we want their city? Click yes. And we want to force them to put in their city Okay, so they state number of employees, or you want to let them have comments and questions, you can make that optional. So you can choose, if you force them their last name, their country, their zip, their phone number, blah, blah, blah. A lot of people are very reluctant to put a phone number on. So if you want a phone number, don't make it a required field. Okay. So then we save it. And now what we can do is if we go and have a look at the link, it now changes to a registration link and not a meeting link. And it actually says here, that's how you know it's a registration link. It's actually got register as part of the name. So now let's click on register. I want to register for this meeting. Can you see it comes up? There's that blah, blah, blah that I typed. There's the name of the meeting, the date and the time. So ask me for my first name, my last name. Anything with a little red star is compulsory. My email address twice because people type it in wrong. My address, I don't have to put it in. My phone, and I can say, I don't know, are there prizes or something? When I try and register, can you see I made city a required field? So it won't let them register until I type something in city. But the problem is I can just type A and it'll be happy. And then I click register. Okay. But now what happens if we want to ask them some like clever questions, you know, not just their name and address and whatever. Let's go back to our meeting. Still no one has registered for my meeting. I can go back to edit now. And I did the questions, but this time I want custom questions. So you can create your own question. So my question is, they can have a short answer or a single answer. It is required, you can decide. So my question is, are you a Toastmaster, for instance? There's only a single answer, and the answer is yes or no. And then you can ask another question, and this, that was another answer. Create a new question. What is your best dessert? I mean, I'm just doing really random questions. You're obviously going to be asking important questions. This time they've got a short answer. You create it and save all. Now, if we go back to that registration link, it's going to ask us, are you a Toastmaster? Yes or no? What is your best dessert? You can type in anything. So the reason you register is twofold. First of all, you want people who are authenticated. You want to know how many people are coming to your meeting, and you may want to put them in breakaway rooms if they're Toastmasters or not. But we had our AGM the other day for our little complex, and we had to say, were you an owner? Are you a tenant? Have you got a proxy? So you can build this exactly like you like. My advice to you is don't go and ask 20,000 questions because people are just not going to bother. And don't ask stuff that you don't need to know. Be careful of copy. You know, like you fill in these forms, they always want to know your home address, your ID number, but it's not relevant. So be careful. But that's basically how you set up a registration. Whatever you type there comes up there. You decide what is forced fields, like a city has got a red dot. You can give them drop-down answers, or they can just type their own thing and they can click register. Now what happens, the same meeting, but it's going to happen every Monday for a couple of weeks. What you can do is you go back and edit. So it edits the meeting. And here you see it's got an option of a recurring meeting. Let's just have it daily for 5 days. Okay. Or you can stop it after 7 occurrences, or you can stop it by this date. You can have a daily, weekly, monthly, or no fixed time. We're going to have a daily for 5 days. And we're going to save. What you need to do now, we've got 7 occurrences. Let's go back to our registration. And here are all the days that the meetings are. It just shows them. So now they've set up and they're going to register for all these meetings in one go. You can also set it up so it's optional, so they only choose one specific meeting. And go back to edit. You see now you've got 7 meetings, so you want to edit all 7 of them. So can you see under the registration, attendees must register once and they can attend any of the occurrences. They need to register for each of the occurrences, or they can register once and choose which occurrences to attend. There's all sorts of options. And once again, like I'm doing now, you can just play. Before you even email this out, come and click on your own registration link. And now can you see, I can just tick on which of these meetings I want to register for. Okay, so your registration is very powerful and it can give you a lot of stuff. Just be careful of don't be asking people stuff they don't want. But now I'm just going to delete this particular meeting because I don't like to have rubbish everywhere. I'm going to go and show you a meeting where we had a real registration. It was a previous meeting and it was actually our AGM. I edit it. I go down. I'll just cancel that. And I go down and can you see there were 15 people who registered to that meeting. If I go to view, I can see Calvin, Jeanette, Tina, David. I can get a whole list of everyone who registered for my meeting. So I can see when they registered. I can search for them via email. If there's more than one page, of which there isn't. And can you see there's an option here? It's quite light, but it says cancel registration. So if for whatever reason I decided David 10 shouldn't come to my meeting, I can actually go, even though he's registered, I can cancel his registration and he can't come into my meeting. So very useful to use registrations because you can use it like a register. Or if you've only got, your Zoom has only got 100 people, you don't want 500 people to register because 399 or whatever of them won't get in. Now, it is exactly the same with a poll. Let's go to a meeting. And generally, I would suggest you preset up your meetings, upcoming meetings. I don't know if it's going to let me add a poll or now because we're already live, but a poll is exactly the same. Oh, can you remember we did a test poll earlier? You can see it there when we did it. So I can it won't let me edit it, but I can create a new poll and say this is the real poll. You can have 16 polls in a meeting if you like. Oh no, that's the poll title. The real poll. What is the question? Is your brain full? Yes. No. So polls are very simple. There are only 2 options. There's never a free form poll. They can have a single choice, or they can have they can click multiple. They can click others. They can't randomly just type in stuff. Save it. And now when I go back into my Zoom, let me just show you that quickly. I'm just going to stop share and get back to Zoom. I'm sharing my Zoom screen. Now, can you see I've got polls over here? If I click on it, can you see I've got 2 polls, a test poll and a real poll. So if I've got 16 polls set up, I can decide like a beginning meeting poll and an end meeting poll. Often, like when I'm doing something where they're training someone, they ask at the beginning, how good are you at negotiation, 1 to 10? And at the end, they say, how good are you now? And run a separate poll. Very useful. Okay, let me go back there and just show you where to extract reports. I want to be sharing my, so the thing is I can see everyone in my who's registered for my meeting. I'm just going to go back to this one. But maybe I want to pull it out into an Excel spreadsheet and email them all and say, hey, fabulous, thanks for registering, blah, 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 blah. But if I view it over here, it doesn't give me an option. I can go to them all and I can see them, but I can't do anything. So this is what you have to do. You have to go on the left-hand side, you've got personal, you've got admin. And under admin, there's something called account management. I honestly do not know what Zoom was thinking because it is so hidden away. Just write this down and remember this, account management. I click on that and right near the bottom is something called reports. Can you see it here? I click on reports. There's a whole bunch of reports that comes up. Can you see under meeting, it's got view registration reports and poll reports for the meeting. So I'm going to click on that. I want to get my registration report. So the AGM was run on, let me just see when that AGM was run on the 12th. So I want my registration report is ticked. I want it for the 12th to the 12th and I search. Victoria Green Homeowners Association Annual General Meeting. And you see right across here, there's a thing that says generate, right on the right-hand side. Click generate, all registrants, continue. And now what it does is it now tells me it's generated this report. I can now download it. Lots and lots of steps in Zoom. I don't know why. So I check it's the right one. It was run on the 12th of August. It was the Victoria Green. And I click download. And here it is opened a CSV file, comma separated file. The first name, the last name, the email, the registration, approved. And I asked questions in my registration. Are you a homeowner? They had the option of yes, a managing agent, or a proxy. What is your unit number? And there's the unit number because that was important for our voting. So these come out in my registration report because these are the questions I asked. If I'd asked for city and address and stuff, it will all come out in this report. So it is a little bit.
Can you share the report?
And you have to go through all these loops. So just to remind yourself, you go down to the admin and you go to the account management, you go to your reports, and then you go to your view registration report and poll report. And that's, you can't print them. It extracts it to Excel, and then in Excel, you must do something pretty with it. Okay. I want to show you something very important here. So you can pull out your poll result, your registration reports. There is also this one called active hosts. View meeting.
Terry,
Yes.
do you mind just showing us the Excel of the reports just
Sure.
to see how it looks?
There's, did it not show on the screen?
No.
I didn't.
Ah, okay, sorry. So I want to choose from the 12th, because that was to the 12th. Search. Okay, I'm going to generate that report. And then I'm going to download it. Okay, and then I'm going to share the Excel with you. Sorry. New share. What is Excel? Yeah, Excel. Okay, can you see that Excel spreadsheet now? So this is what you'll get from Zoom. So the first name, the last name, the email, the registration time, if they were approved, then these were the questions I asked. Are you a homeowner? And what is your unit number? I didn't ask for their phone number or their address. If I did, it would have come in here as well. So I know that Wayne Fatsong, that's his email. He is a homeowner and he is unit number 7. So it comes as a CSV file and it's up to you to manipulate it or pull it into your Gmail account and send them. Thank you so much for attending, blah, 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 blah. Okay, remember it's not it's a CSV, it's not an Excel spreadsheet. So you need to convert it or pull it into something. Every question you ask, like if you asked your city or your phone, would come in here as a column. And these are my, these questions here at the end are the questions that I asked, my custom questions. Are you a homeowner and what is your unit number? So everything they type in there comes out into this email. To me, it's like so many freeing steps to get it, but it is what it is currently, that you have to jump around. But there's one more report I wanted to show you. Go back to my usage reports. And there's another one called active hosts. This shows you everyone who's logged into your meeting. So if they've registered, doesn't mean they've come to your meeting. So if you click on this one, and I'm going to go to a live meeting I did on the 3rd. And also it doesn't keep these things forever. So remember to extract them out. Now this is a meeting we ran, but there is no registration involved. Can you see we had 235 people on this meeting, the middle one, Midlands Forum, Clem Santa was talking. I can click on the 235 and here it's given me all my meeting participants. The problem with not registering is that you get, like Shirley, no email. I don't know who Shirley is, no Susan's iPhone, no email because they went and they used it straight from the web. These people have never even registered from Zoom. Occasionally, like Cheryl, she has a Zoom registration and it shows us like that. But then you get 431432. Got no idea who they are. So if they're not registered, you can get who came to your meeting, but it's not always very useful. If I wanted to email all these people and thank them, I've got so few emails because they're using the web thing. Okay, this particular case, they're all over the age of 70 and they have a speaker, so they don't need to register. But what I'm showing you is that when people can come in and cause trouble, like Val, whoever Val is, if she shared a porno thing, I can't even report her to Zoom because she hasn't logged into her Zoom app. She doesn't have that app. As soon as they've got an account in Zoom, you can see it, okay? And here you can export it, and then you've got a list of all your participants and you can try and get, it shows you like, I was on the meeting for 84 minutes. Clem was on the meeting for 1 minute, but he obviously fell off and then he came in again for 83. But it also shows you like Helen, she was on the meeting for 3 minutes. She never came back in again. She obviously wasn't enjoyed. It can give you quite useful information. Okay. I want to show you something. Can you see across here? You've got profile meetings where we've been, where we set up all our meetings. There's a thing called recordings, which will help you if you forget where your recordings are. If you click on recordings, you have cloud recordings and local recordings. I only ever do local, but if I click on that, it will show me each and every place, like Terry's personal meeting room on August the 20th on my desktop. This is where the file is located. Users Terry, Dropbox, Zoom recordings. There's the name and the date. Quetta Skier public speaking showcase. This is where I can open the recording straight from here. People often phone me and they say they don't know where their Zoom recording is, but it will. I've had 464 recordings. I don't know if that's just this year or not, but it will help you to find them. Okay. Every time you record a meeting, it puts up in this register. So it's profile, meetings, webinars, recordings. If you've done local recordings, you click on that and it'll tell you, you can look at you can choose your date, you can search for it, and then you can find where that file actually has been stored. Goodness me. That was a lot of information and I could still show you more, but I think your brains might explode. Any final questions? I will send you the link so you can watch this at your leisure. I do want to show you one more thing, is how to make sure you're on the latest version of Zoom. Do you have 3 more minutes of breath left? Right.
Yes.
My screen again, and let me go to Zoom. So now this, that's interesting. Why is it not sharing it? Okay. And, okay. Share, and share my Zoom. Oh no. Okay. I'm going to share it to you in a movie because it's quite often hard to show you things when we're actually live. So I'm just going to share a video, and my advice to you is always be on the latest version of Zoom. Update Zoom version. Open. So this is what you're going to do on the app. Update to the latest Zoom version. First of all, open the Zoom application on your laptop or PC. This should be your front screen. Go up to your profile picture in the top right-hand corner. If you click on that, it should say check for updates in the pop-up menu. If you click on that, mine is currently up to date. If you're not up to date, you would get an update button. You can click on that and simply press close, and you'll be on the latest version of Zoom. Actually, I think I've got a better video. Let me just share that one. But always try and be, because mostly a lot of the videos, the upgrades are around security. Make sure you are on the latest Zoom version. Sometimes Zoom will actually let you know you need to do an upgrade. Other times you actually need to click on your profile picture, drop down to check for upgrades, updates. It will tell you if there's an update available. It will also tell you what changes or enhancements are being done. Click the update button and Zoom will do all the rest for you. It will do the update and then we'll restart Zoom. You can check if you're on the latest version. Click on your profile picture, check for updates, and it'll tell you you are up to date and now you know you're on. Okay, so make sure you are always on the latest version of Zoom, because for security reasons alone, and then if you want to do stuff that I've shown you, you may not be able to do it. And could you all just turn your cameras on for the last sec so I can see if there are any questions? I know it is a lot, but it's very hard to only teach bits of this. And it's a lot to take in. Ronelle, you have a question?
Yes, please. It's around registration.
Yes.
So I've now basically, I set up a meeting and I tick the box that says require registration. So that link that I finally get once I've set up all the meetings specifications, can I give that link to a tech person who will send the email out to the 200, however many recipients of such an invite?
when they register, yeah, so you can copy that link, just make sure it has got the word register in it. You email that out to whoever wants to come. Once they register, Zoom emails them and says, this is your link for the meeting. They get their own personalized link. But yes, that's the, I'm going to just quickly share that screen with you. It'll take 1 second.
Okay, and can I just interject a question here? Because I've basically designed an invitation for this.
So you need to
and
put that link on your invite.
Is it possible to do that?
But
Okay.
only on a PDF, not on a JPEG, because JPEG you can't click, but on your PDF you can click on that link.
No, you can actually, you know, I found out that you can.
Okay, yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, okay, so if I go to the meetings, and I'm just going to go to an old meeting, but it's the same as if it's a new one, and to the Victoria Green. And this registration link here, it's Zoom blah, 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 register. You can right click it and say copy link address. And then that's what you share with them or that you link to your PDF.
Okay. 100%.
If you look at your Outlook calendar, I can show you, just put it on down quickly. Okay, let me just share this screen. Can you, I don't know if you can. No, it's not showing the right screen. Ugh. Zoom sometimes can be so annoying because what I'm seeing, okay. Now this is what you can do. But can you see this one is not the registration one, it is actual the meeting ID and the passcode. So what I tend to do is I email everyone, let them register. I extract the registration, I pull it into my Gmail, and then I send them this one because half of them can't go back and find the thing they got from Zoom and they're confused. So I come and I pull it out of here and I send them an email.
Okay.
That's I've only learned from experience that Zoom emails them their own personal link and then they can never find it again. Mel, you had a question.
Yes, I've got a question. Yeah, just thinking of adventurous people who might. Okay, I register and I get my link on my email and I share that email with Blinox and so and so and so and so. What happens when they click on that link for the meeting?
So remember I showed you, you could say they can only log in from one device.
Okay.
Whoever gets in first, then
okay.
oh, you send it to your friend and they log in, it won't let you in. It will only let one person in on that link. Okay. So it just depends.
Okay.
That was when we were setting up the registration and there was an option that said allow multiple devices. You take it off, the first person who clicks on that, they're in and you're out. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions? I know it's a lot, but and there's a lot more in the background, but I think you may have had a lot for today. And I will send you the link. I'm not going to edit this one. It's just going to be the raw thing. I'll put it on a private YouTube channel and you can just watch the parts of it, but you're always welcome to phone me. 90% of the time I'm on a Zoom.
Thank you.
As soon as I'm off my Zoom, I will help you. Okay. Did you find that worthwhile? Did you learn something that you didn't know before?
Learned a lot. Thanks.
Yeah, you did.
Cool.
Yeah, I learned so much as well.
Excellent. So just remember, the PC has got a lot more options than an iPad or an iPhone. If you're running a big meeting, I would suggest never do it from an iPad. I love my iPad. It sits next to me all day long, but you can't run a meeting from it. It's half of these options don't even come up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect. I expect to come to some like shiny meetings soon.
Thank you very much.
Music and okay, guys, have a nice
It
weekend.
was lovely to meet everyone.
Yeah.
Good.
See everybody
Bye.
again. Cheers, guys. Thanks, Terry. Bye.